But going back to the top story we are tracking here on DD India News, India's ties with the US and what to expect from Trump's second term in office. Joining us is Ms. Meera Shankar. She is a former Indian ambassador to the US. Ambassador Shankar, welcome to DD India News. Now, Minister Jaishankar will visit the US this week. What might be on his agenda, and would he reach out to the key members in the incoming Trump cabinet?
Sure. I think it will be to take stock of where the relationship stands today with the existing administration and to get in touch also with members of the incoming administration so that, we are preparing the ground for a transition in leadership in America and the way it might impact on the relationship.
Indeed. Now, Trump has appointed Indian-American entrepreneur Sriram Krishnan as his advisor on artificial intelligence. Now, he is one of 6 Indian-Americans who have been inducted into the Trump government. What does that tell you about the Indian diaspora, Ambassador Shankar? Is the Indian-American community finally coming into its own and becoming a force to reckon with in U.S. domestic politics?
Yes, I think Indian Americans are increasingly visible in public life and in the business world as CEOs of major companies. Now, this was unthinkable just a decade or so back. So clearly there has been a transition in the way the community is viewed in the US and also on their ability to break glass ceilings in a number of sectors, including politics, including business. We've seen with the Biden administration also that Kamala Harris, his vice president, was of part Indian origin. So were several other key appointees, including his Surgeon General, and there were several other key appointees. Now, President Trump has also made, as you said, 6 Indian Americans appointments to key posts. So that's something to be welcomed. But, these are all Americans first.
Right.
Let's put it like that. Mm-hmm. I don't think we should have an expectation from them that, they will have some special sensitivity to India. But yes, they would have an understanding of Indian culture, broader Indian concerns. Though, as I said, we must always remember that these are people who are Americans first, though they can act as a bridge, especially those not in government, I think can act as a bridge between the two countries.
Indeed. Looking at Trump 2.0, Ambassador Shankar, how do you view Trump's threats of imposing tariffs on India?
Look, even during his last term, his first term, trade frictions were a constant in the relationship.
Right.
He withdrew GSP for India's exports. He challenged India's developing country status at the WTO and was phased out. And he imposed tariffs on steel and aluminium. India negotiated with him and then imposed reciprocal tariffs of an equivalent amount after 2 years of discussion. So I think we have to wait and see what he does. The first statement he's made since his election is that he will impose 25% tariffs on goods coming in from Canada and Mexico unless they halt illegal immigration and also the flow of drugs across the border. And then he has also said that he will impose an additional 10% tariff on Chinese imports.
Right.
Now, this is a far cry from the 50 to 60% tariffs that he had threatened to impose on all Chinese imports during his campaign. So I think let's wait and see what he actually does rather than his rhetoric. His rhetoric, we know, even during his campaign, he has said, tariffs is a word he loves, and he is going to impose tariffs, and he is going to ensure that there are reciprocal tariffs on India. In a recent statement where he has said, if they impose 100%, we will impose 100%. But I think let's wait and see what he actually does rather than his rhetoric. And I'm sure that India will try to negotiate pragmatically in a way which is mutually beneficial. If that doesn't work out, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Indeed. Ambassador Shankar, Prime Minister Modi is one who invests a great deal of time, energy and effort into establishing a personal rapport with world leaders. Trump and Modi enjoyed a good working relationship during Trump's first term in office. Do you think the bonhomie will continue into Trump's second term as well?
I'm sure that it will, because there are broader factors which bring the two countries together. Trade is one aspect of the relationship, a very important aspect, because the US is our largest export market. But when you look at the trade surplus that India has with the US, it just varies from 20 to 25 to $28 billion. It's in that region for both goods and services. So broadly balanced trade. It is China with whom the US has hundreds of billions of dollars in a trade deficit. So acting against India is not going to make a big difference to the US. It doesn't really make sense. It's not going to change very much because trade with India is broadly balanced, and US exports to India have also been growing, including US service exports to India.
And finally, Ambassador Shankar, do you have a wish list of sorts, a list of things that you would like to see happen going forward? The next big idea, perhaps?
Well, I would like to see some of the new initiatives carried forward. The whole initiative on critical and emerging technologies. Maybe they can give it a different name if Trump feels he wants to put his own stamp on it. But I think that really holds a lot of promise. The Defense Accelerator Indus X program, under which the GE jet engines are to be jointly manufactured in India. Now, of course, the deal for these, Reaper drones or armed drones. I think there's a lot in the field of defense manufacturing, high-tech manufacturing, research and development, which will help the competitiveness and economies of both countries. And I would like to see those carried forward.
Right. Ambassador Shankar, pleasure as always to talk to you. Thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.